Serena Vance, a quiet bartender, just wants a peaceful life after her military service. But when the Blackwater Riders biker gang storms in, demanding protection money, their leader mocks her dog tags and rips them from her neck. That's the breaking point. In under 90 seconds, Serena unleashes her combat medic training, nerve strikes, dislocations, and precision takedowns, leaving the entire gang incapacitated on the bar floor. When the sheriff arrives, he addresses her as Sergeant Vance, revealing himself as her former commanding officer. The fight was caught on camera, clearing her name and proving it was self-defense. The story closes with Serena accepting his offer to work in veteran advocacy, turning her painful past into a powerful new purpose. If you are enjoying the stories, please take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel. And now, let us begin the complete story. In the dimly lit bar, Serena Vance sat behind her wooden counter, sipping a glass of red wine. The sound of motorcycles revving outside mixed with the clinking of glasses and the distant hum of conversation from customers like old friends sharing their stories over an evening drink. Suddenly, the door burst open, and a group of biker-clad men rushed in at full speed. Each one had his own unique look and attitude, but they all shared a common determination to protect something or someone precious. A money locker belonging to Serena's late husband, who'd been killed when he was attacked by members of the Blackwater Riders, a notorious motorcycle gang known for its violent tactics. The leader, dressed in a leather vest with chains wrapped around his neck and tattoos etched across his chest, sneered at her as she looked up from her drink. "You've got that dog tag on your shirt, so we know who you're protecting," he spat out, brandishing a weapon that glinted silver under the lights. Serena's heart raced as she struggled to keep calm in this intense moment. She knew that if they were caught, it could ruin everything for her and her husband, but also potentially putting herself and others at risk. That was when she remembered something from her military training: how to disable weapons with precision strikes, dislocations, and quick thinking. With a deep breath, Serena retrieved the money locker from its hidden compartment and made a swift move to grab one of their bikes. She used her combat medic skills to assess each bike's layout and vulnerabilities, finding weaknesses that she could exploit against the bikers' motorcycles. As she approached them with the lockbox in hand, they launched an attack, but Serena was quick on her feet, using her training to dodge the incoming weapons and land a few devastating blows of her own. She managed to disable one bike and use it as a distraction for the others, allowing herself to slip away unnoticed. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, Serena sprinted back into the bar, heart pounding in her chest. As she reached the door that led out onto the street, she couldn't help but feel a sense of relief wash over her. She had stopped the Blackwater Riders and taken down their leader. But as she turned to face the sheriff who was now standing at the entrance, she realized something else. He wasn't alone in this fight. The camera footage from outside captured every moment, providing proof that Serena's self-defense was legitimate and not a mere figment of her imagination. The sheriff looked up at her with a mixture of pride and disbelief as he spoke. "Serena Vance," he said, his voice steady despite the adrenaline rush in his own system. "You've been cleared by the local law enforcement for your actions on that night." As tears streamed down Serena's face, she couldn't help but feel grateful to her former commanding officer for saving her and proving once again that her skills as a combat medic were no joke. With renewed determination, Serena accepted his offer to work in veteran advocacy. She knew it would be a challenging new chapter in her life, one filled with the challenges of helping those who have been affected by violence and trauma. But she was ready for whatever lay ahead, knowing that justice had been served and that her husband's memory lived on through the work she carried forward. As Serena sat back at her bar counter, Sipping on another glass of wine and reflecting on her journey so far, she knew that the fight against injustice wasn't over yet. But with each victory, she felt a sense of purpose greater than anything she could have imagined before. Serena's bar. Night. The bustling bar at Serena Vance's establishment is alive with the sounds of conversation and laughter, but inside, it is a different place altogether. Serena sits behind her desk, surrounded by photographs of her husband, Mike, and their children. She had been there for over 2 decades when he left to join the military, serving in Afghanistan as a combat medic. As she looks up from her paperwork, she sees Detective Jack Harris standing at the bar. His thick black hair was neatly trimmed, his piercing blue eyes assessing every aspect of the room before nodding toward Serena. "Good evening, Serena," Detective Harris said. "I wanted to speak with you about a case that's been on my mind for some time now." Serena felt her heart skip a beat as she looked up from her desk, knowing that this was no ordinary call in her professional life. She had never worked closely with the local law enforcement before, but Jack Harris's reputation preceded him. "Of course," Serena replied, her voice firm and resolute despite her fear of what might lie ahead. "What can I help you with?" Jack walked over to her desk, his hand resting on a file folder full of documents related to Mike's military service and the case he had been investigating. As he opened it, he shared some information about a suspicious individual who had recently appeared at an off-duty shooting range in town. "This man was seen carrying a weapon during the incident," Jack explained. "His name is Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini, and we believe he may have played a role in Mike's death." Serena's heart sank as she recognized the familiar face on the file. It was her former commanding officer, who had been killed just days before. "I'm here to discuss his involvement with Mike's case," Jack said, his voice heavy with sorrow. "I've interviewed several witnesses and analyzed the evidence collected by our team, but we haven't found any concrete proof linking him to the murder." Serena couldn't help but feel a sense of unease as she listened to Jack speak about the killer's background. Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini was known for his volatile temper and had been involved in some minor disputes with Mike before he went missing. "Keiko Du Bois is an ex-con," Jack said, his voice tinged with anger. "He has a history of violence and may have taken advantage of Mike during their time together." Serena's mind raced as she tried to process the information about Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini. She knew that her former commanding officer had always been a respected member of the community, but now the truth was starting to unravel. "I'm concerned for both you and our town," Jack continued. "We need to find out more before we can make any arrests." Serena nodded in agreement, knowing that it wasn't just about protecting Mike's memory or catching Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini himself. It was also about ensuring justice had been served and bringing closure to his family. With a deep breath, Serena gathered her thoughts and began working with Jack on the case. They spoke for hours, discussing John Malik Mancini's motivations and trying to piece together what he might have intended to do with Mike's life. As they delved deeper into Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini's past, Serena discovered that he had recently been released from prison due to a sentence of 5 years for armed robbery. He was looking for a fresh start, hoping to rebuild his reputation in the community and make amends for his earlier crimes. With this information, Detective Harris recommended that Serena interview Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini again in person before taking any further action. As they met at an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town, Jack and Serena couldn't shake off their nerves as they listened to Keiko Du Bois's account of how he had been wronged by Mike. "I understand where you're coming from," Keiko Du Bois said, his voice shaking slightly. "But I didn't want to harm anyone or take something that wasn't mine." Serena hesitated for a moment before speaking up, trying to convince him that justice would prevail even if it meant putting him behind bars again. "We need to find the truth and ensure you're held accountable," she said. "Your actions have caused pain and loss to Mike's family, but we cannot let those crimes go unchecked." Keiko Du Bois nodded in agreement, his voice softening as he admitted that he had made mistakes. He knew that it was easier for him to turn a blind eye than to confront the reality of what he did. "I understand," Keiko Du Bois said, his eyes closing in defeat, "but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right." Serena watched as Detective Harris carefully listened to their conversation while they sat across from each other. As they continued to discuss Keiko Du Bois's case and explore potential leads, Serena felt a renewed sense of purpose within her. "Mike would have been proud of you," she said finally. "And if justice could bring him back or make amends for the pain he left behind, then we should do everything in our power to ensure that it happens." With this final word spoken, Detective Harris nodded in agreement and turned towards Jack, his expression filled with determination. "We'll continue investigating Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini case," Jack said. "But before you take any further steps, I want to make sure we're all on the same page about what needs to happen next." Serena looked at Jack, her eyes shining with gratitude for his understanding and support. Together, they made a plan to gather more information, interview Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini again, and work towards bringing him to justice. As the sun began to set over the town of Serenity Valley, Serena sat back in her bar counter chair, feeling grateful for the chance encounter that had led her on this journey. She knew that there would be challenges ahead, but with Jack Harris's unwavering commitment and the support of her community, she was ready to take on whatever came their way. The global outline. Serena Vance, a quiet bartender in Serenity Valley, has long sought peace and stability after her military service. She finds solace at the bar, where she can unwind with stories of former soldiers who have found redemption through their own struggles. One day, Detective Harris arrives on her beat, addressing her as Sergeant Vance, revealing his connection to Serena's past. This unexpected encounter sets in motion a chain reaction that leads to Serena accepting an offer from the town sheriff to work at the Veteran Advocacy Center and confronts the dark secrets of Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini. The story takes on a new direction as Detective Harris reveals more about Keiko's tragic past, including her involvement in a high-profile murder case years ago. Serena must piece together clues that connect her with Keiko and determine if she is capable of bringing justice to the victims. As she delves deeper into the investigation, Serena encounters a cast of characters who help guide her towards the truth. Among them are Detective Harris, Jack Harris, and their team of investigators, each bringing unique perspectives and skills to solve the case. The bond between Serena and these individuals deepens as they work together to uncover evidence that will lead to Keiko's conviction. As the story unfolds, tensions rise within the local community as whispers about a possible cover-up or injustice begin to surface. Serena finds herself torn between her loyalty to the detective and the desire for justice for those who have lost their lives in this tragic event. With each new discovery, Serena becomes more determined to bring Keiko to justice, even if it means putting her own life on the line. Her unwavering determination and resourcefulness are put to the test as she navigates a dangerous world of lies, deceit, and danger. As Serena delves deeper into the case, she discovers that Keiko was involved in multiple violent incidents before her death, leaving behind a trail of chaos and destruction. The town's residents struggle to come together amidst fear and suspicion, but with the help of Detective Harris's expertise in identifying key witnesses, they begin piecing together the puzzle. In an intense confrontation with Keiko's former partner and family members, Serena uncovers a shocking revelation that challenges everything she thought she knew about her own past. The truth reveals that Keiko had been working as a double agent for the criminal organization behind the murders, using her expertise in disguise and manipulation to gain access to sensitive information. This revelation sets off a chain reaction of events that leads to an all-out battle between Serena and the forces trying to silence her. With both sides vying for control over Keiko's story, Serena must use every tool at her disposal to expose the truth while protecting herself from harm. As tensions rise within the town, tensions also reach a boiling point with local politicians and law enforcement agencies, who are divided in their beliefs about who has the right to know the truth. Serena finds herself caught between those fighting for justice and those seeking to maintain order, as she navigates a dangerous maze of political intrigue and power struggles. In a final showdown against Keiko's former partner and family members, Serena confronts them in a dramatic confrontation that unfolds on a busy city street. With her skills as an investigator at their disposal, Serena manages to gather crucial evidence that leads to the arrest of both Keiko and her partner, who is brought before the court for his involvement in multiple murders. The story concludes with Detective Harris delivering justice through a harsh trial, where Keiko's former partner confesses to his crimes and receives a life sentence. With this final chapter, Serena finds closure not only on behalf of those whose lives were lost, but also on her own journey towards personal healing and redemption. In the aftermath of the case, Serena continues to work at the Veteran Advocacy Center as an advocate for veterans and their families seeking support in navigating the complex world of trauma and adversity. The story serves as a reminder that even after serving our country with honor and valor, we must also be vigilant against those who seek to exploit us or harm others. With each new chapter, Serena's journey becomes increasingly personal and transformative as she confronts her own demons, learns from the experiences of past heroes, and works tirelessly to make a difference in the lives of others. As the novel draws to its conclusion, Serena finds herself at peace with her past and emboldened by the knowledge that justice has been served. The story serves as both an exploration of grief, redemption, and resilience, while also serving as a reminder of the power of community, forgiveness, and hope in overcoming even the darkest chapters of our lives. Global outline: Serena Vance, a quiet bartender in the bustling city of San Francisco, is on her way to work when she receives an unexpected call from the sheriff. He introduces himself as Sergeant Keiko DuBois Harmon, one of her former commanding officers during her time in the military. The story begins with a momentary jolt of shock and disbelief for Serena, who had not expected such familiarity and recognition of someone she once worked closely alongside. She is taken aback by his request to work at the Veteran Advocacy Center as an advocate for veterans and their families seeking support in navigating the complex world of trauma and adversity. The sheriff's message carries a sense of purpose and responsibility, leaving Serena feeling torn between her desire to honor her past service and her growing commitment to making a positive impact on others. She begins by reflecting on the lessons she learned from Sergeant Harmon during their time together, including his dedication to justice, compassion, and selflessness. As Serena delves deeper into her work at the center, she encounters a diverse range of clients who have faced unique challenges in their respective journeys towards healing and recovery. These individuals are struggling with PTSD, addiction, grief, and other forms of emotional pain as they navigate the complex world of war-torn communities and modern-day trauma. One particularly poignant client is Keiko DuBois, an Iraq War veteran named David, whose journey to rebuilding his life has been marked by setbacks, loss, and loneliness. Despite facing numerous obstacles, including language barriers, lack of access to resources, and a deep-seated sense of distrust towards the government and military, David finds solace in the support provided by Serena's advocacy efforts. As their relationship blossoms, Keiko Du Bois begins to open up about his experiences during the war, sharing stories that are both deeply moving and heartbreaking. Through their conversations, Serena learns more about the complex dynamics of PTSD recovery, including the role of trauma-focused therapy, peer-to-peer mentorship, and the importance of building a supportive community. The story also explores themes of resilience, compassion, and self-compassion as Serena navigates her own healing process after serving in the military. She learns to let go of negative self-talk, cultivate positive affirmations, and practice mindfulness techniques to manage her anxiety and emotional exhaustion. As she works tirelessly with Keiko Du Bois and other veterans at the center, Serena discovers a deep sense of connection with them that goes beyond their shared experiences as soldiers. She becomes more attuned to their individual needs, strengths, and vulnerabilities, and begins to see each person for who they truly are rather than solely defined by their military service. Alongside her work, Serena also finds time for personal growth and self-reflection, engaging in mindfulness meditation, yoga, and other forms of mental wellness practices. These experiences help her to develop a more balanced perspective on life, reduce stress levels, and cultivate greater emotional resilience in the face of adversity. As she navigates these challenges, Serena comes across several instances that highlight the importance of community support and collaboration for healing and recovery. She meets other advocates, therapists, and volunteers who have dedicated their lives to helping veterans like Keiko Du Bois, offering guidance, resources, and a sense of belonging in an often isolating world. In one particularly impactful encounter with a local activist named Sarah, Serena is struck by her passion for empowering women veterans and advocating for their rights. Through their conversation, she learns about the systemic barriers faced by female service members and begins to see how these issues intersect with the broader challenges facing the veteran community. Inspired by Sarah's commitment to creating change, Serena decides to take action in her own capacity as an advocate. She organizes a series of events and workshops that aim to raise awareness about gender equality among veterans and provide resources for survivors seeking support. Through these efforts, she gains support from the broader community, including military leaders, policymakers, and influential figures who recognize the importance of addressing veteran issues at all levels. Together with her team, Serena works tirelessly to build a coalition that advocates for policies, programs, and initiatives that promote gender equality, reduce stigma surrounding mental health treatment, and enhance access to healthcare resources. As the story unfolds, Serena's work not only brings hope and support to veterans who are struggling, but also has an impact on the larger community at large. She becomes a voice for change, inspiring others to take action in their own lives and advocating for the rights of all marginalized groups. The chapter concludes with Serena reflecting on her journey thus far, acknowledging both its joys and challenges. Despite the pain she experienced during her military service, she is grateful for the lessons it has taught her about resilience, compassion, self-compassion, community support, and the power of healing to overcome adversity. She continues to work at the Veteran Advocacy Center as an advocate for veterans, using her experiences and skills to inspire others and make a positive impact in their lives. With each new chapter, Serena finds herself on a path towards personal growth, redemption, and fulfillment that is driven by a sense of purpose, connection with others, and the knowledge that justice has been served through her work. Serena Vance, a quiet bartender with a simple life in the heart of small-town America, had always been content to live her days away from prying eyes and daily routines. After completing her service as an Army veteran in 2019, she returned home to seek peace and respite from the stresses that came with being part of such a volatile force. One day, while working at a local bar called the Old Oak Inn, Serena received a call from a mysterious man named Jack. He approached her after hours and introduced himself as the town's new sheriff. "Sergeant Vance," he said in his stern voice, addressing her with an unfamiliar familiarity that made her heart skip a beat. The sheriff had been assigned to investigate reports of a string of violent crimes across the surrounding area, including multiple home invasions, car thefts, and even a murder at the local library. Serena was shocked but determined to help solve these cases. She knew firsthand how difficult it could be for victims like herself to navigate the aftermath of trauma and loss, especially when they are dealing with grief, fear, and uncertainty. As she began investigating Jack's C.A.S.E., Serena found that he had a personal connection to the community. He had grown up in the town, attended high school together with her brother, who had also served in the military before returning home after his own traumatic experience. The sheriff revealed that Jack had been struggling for years with PTSD and was hesitant about seeking help until he met Serena at the local Veteran Advocacy Center. Serena listened to Jack's story carefully, understanding how his experiences as a soldier had left him scarred both physically and emotionally. She shared her own struggles and healing from her military service and encouraged Jack to seek professional support if he ever needed it. Together, they delved into the victims' accounts of their crimes, piecing together clues that led them to the killer's identity. The investigation took a harrowing turn when they discovered that one of the victims was related to Serena's own family. The revelation triggered an emotional reunion between Jack and his brother, who had not seen him in years due to their traumatic past. As they hugged and cried tears of relief, Jack revealed that he had been hiding away from them for fear of retribution. The sheriff ordered a manhunt for the killer but was unable to locate any leads until Serena arrived at the Old Oak in one night while working as a bartender. She quickly realized that this could be her chance to catch him and bring justice to those who suffered under his cruel hands. As she conducted her investigation, Serena faced numerous obstacles along the way, including intimidation from Jack's henchmen and resistance from some of the town's residents who were suspicious of her motives. However, she remained steadfast in her determination to uncover the truth, using her intuition and sharp mind to piece together a complex web of lies and deceit. With each new clue that emerged, Serena felt an overwhelming sense of satisfaction and hope for justice. She discovered that Jack had been involved in multiple criminal organizations before he met Serena, all with a common goal: eliminating his enemies and securing their power. As she dug deeper into the killer's motivations, Serena realized that her own past trauma played a significant role in driving him to commit these crimes. In particular, she remembered vividly how Jack's father had been abusive towards her as a child, which had left her deeply scarred and unable to trust others. With this newfound understanding, Serena confronted Jack about his actions, urging him to understand the impact of his violent behavior on not only himself but also those around him. She explained that she was more than just an investigator. She was someone who stood up for what was right and wanted to make a difference in people's lives. Jack listened intently as she spoke, acknowledging her pain and struggles, but eventually agreeing to turn over his evidence to the authorities and work with Serena on behalf of the victims. The two men formed an unlikely alliance, each bringing their unique skills and perspectives to the case, working together tirelessly to bring closure to these families' hearts. The investigation led to a series of dramatic revelations, including the discovery of an underground network of illegal arms dealers in the town, a secret military base that was used for cover-ups and cover-up crimes, and even a powerful drug cartel with connections to several high-profile politicians. With each piece of evidence pointing towards Jack's involvement, Serena knew she had finally found her calling as a detective. The climax came when they uncovered the shocking truth about Jack's father's past, revealing that he had been involved in a series of brutal murders during his time serving in the military. As justice was served for the victims and their families, Serena felt a sense of pride knowing that she had played an essential role in bringing closure to what had once seemed like impossible crimes. As the story concludes, Serena Vance continues her work as a veteran advocate, using her experiences and skills to inspire others to overcome adversity and make positive change. She has become known throughout the town for her unwavering commitment to justice, her ability to connect with people on an emotional level, and her passion for helping those who have been affected by violence. The Old Oak Inn serves as a reminder of the power of hope and resilience in even the darkest moments, where seemingly impossible crimes can be solved through hard work, determination, and the unwavering belief that justice will prevail. Serena's story is one of triumph over adversity, reminding us all that true healing begins with acknowledging our pain, seeking help when needed, and standing up for what we believe in. Global outline: Serena Vance, a quiet bartender with a hidden past and a desire for peace after her military service, is unexpectedly approached by the sheriff, who introduces himself as her former commanding officer. This encounter sets off a chain of events that will lead to a series of brutal murders during her time serving in the military. As justice was served for the victims and their families, Serena feels a sense of pride knowing that she played an essential role in bringing closure to what had once seemed like impossible crimes. However, this newfound purpose is soon disrupted when the sheriff offers her a position as a veteran advocate at the Old Oak Inn, where he works alongside his former partner. The inn serves as both a place for redemption and reflection for Serena. It becomes a sanctuary for those who have been affected by violence, offering them an opportunity to heal from their trauma, while also providing a safe haven for victims of crime to confront the memories that haunt them. At the Old Oak Inn, Serena meets other veterans facing similar challenges, each with their own stories to tell. As they work together at the Old Oak Inn, Serena and her team uncover evidence linking a local criminal organization to these brutal murders. They begin to piece together the motive behind the killings and unravel the complex web of lies that has led to this dark chapter in the town's history. However, their investigation is complicated by the fact that several key witnesses have disappeared or changed identities. The team must navigate through a world where trust is scarce and danger lurks at every turn as they race against time to solve the case before it's too late. As Serena delves deeper into the mystery, she discovers shocking secrets about her own past that reveal her involvement in the military's darkest days. This revelation not only challenges her beliefs, but also forces her to confront the pain and trauma she had previously kept hidden from those around her. With time running out, Serena must rely on her skills as a bartender and detective to gather information, track down leads, and build a strong case against the criminal organization. She is faced with impossible obstacles, including threats from within the Old Oak Inn herself and dangerous individuals who will stop at nothing to protect their secrets. In a thrilling climax, Serena confronts one of the key players in the crime, a former colleague who had been involved in her own past but now seeks redemption. Through intense negotiations and unexpected twists, she manages to expose the truth about what really happened during those dark days and bring justice to those left behind. As the trial unfolds, the old Oaken becomes a place of hope for survivors and victims' families alike, with each witness standing up for their rights and speaking out against the crime. The town's residents come together in solidarity, holding rallies, praying for the accused, and demanding accountability from those who had committed these heinous acts. In the end, justice prevails as Serena is sentenced to prison alongside her former partner, where they begin a long and difficult journey of rehabilitation and rebuilding their lives post-release. Their experiences serve as an inspiration to others facing similar challenges, reminding them that even in the darkest moments, hope can be found within and against all odds. The old Oaken becomes not only a symbol of resilience and redemption, but also a reminder of the importance of empathy, understanding, and compassion for those who have been affected by violence. Serena's story serves as a catalyst for change, inspiring others to stand up for what they believe in and work towards creating a safer, more just society for all. Yindi, in the heart of the small town, nestled between rolling hills and a vast forest, stood the old Oak Inn. Its historic architecture was an enduring testament to time, as it had survived countless battles and tragedies that claimed lives throughout its history. Serena Vance sat at her desk in the cozy bar, surrounded by the familiar faces of her former colleagues and patrons who came here seeking solace and healing from their past. She knew she'd never forgotten the day when the town was terrorized by a group of ruthless serial killers known as the Wolves. The attack left an indelible mark on the community, leaving residents shaken, angry, and desperate for answers. As Serena watched the trial unfold in court, her mind wandered back to that fateful night. It was early morning when she received news about the brutal killings at the Old Oak Inn, and it had shattered her world. She'd been a bartender at the inn for years and knew every patron by name. They were like family, sharing stories of their darkest moments and offering support during times of need. The trial began with the prosecution presenting its case against Serena's former partner, Mark Omar Dubois, who was accused of orchestrating the attacks on the Old Oak Inn and several other local businesses. As they presented evidence, it became clear that Mark had a deep connection to the victims, using his charm and wit to manipulate them into giving him their personal information. As the trial progressed, Serena listened intently as the prosecution painted a picture of Mark's twisted mind, fueled by alcoholism and a desire for power and control. She knew firsthand how easily someone like Mark could convince others to do what he desired, regardless of the consequences. The defense team tried to portray Mark as an innocent victim who had simply stumbled upon the killer's scheme, but Serena remained steadfast in her belief that she was wrongfully accused. As they presented their case, she couldn't help but feel a sense of unease and sadness at how easily society had been led astray by these twisted individuals. In the end, justice prevails as Mark is sentenced to life imprisonment for his crimes, while Serena continues on with her work in veteran advocacy, using her experiences as an inspiration for others. She becomes known as Serena's Redemption, a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of adversity. As she sat at the Old Oak Inn, surrounded by the familiar faces of those who had been affected by the crime, Serena couldn't help but feel grateful for their strength and courage. They'd shown her that even when things seemed darkest, there was always an opportunity to rise above them and find hope in unexpected places. Over time, Serena's work at the Old Oak Inn began to have a profound impact on the community. She started hosting workshops and seminars, teaching others about PTSD, trauma recovery, and how to cope with grief after traumatic events. Her passion for helping those who had been impacted by violence led her to form partnerships with local organizations, providing resources and support to survivors of abuse and trafficking. Her work not only helped to heal the hearts of individuals, but also served as a catalyst for change in the wider community. As news outlets began to cover Serena's story, more people were drawn to her cause, learning about the impact that violence can have on both victims and their communities. In 2021, the Old Oak Inn was renamed the Healing Place, a place where survivors could find solace, healing, and support from those who had been impacted by violence. Serena's story became an anthem for hope and resilience in the face of adversity, reminding us that even when we're facing darkest moments, there is always a way to rise above them and create a safer world for all. As she sat at her desk once again, surrounded by familiar faces of those who had come before her, Serena couldn't help but feel grateful for their support. They'd shown her the power of community and the importance of empathy, understanding, and compassion in fighting against evil and injustice. With each passing day, the Old Oak Inn became not only a symbol of resilience and redemption, but also a reminder of the importance of creating a safer, more just society for all. The story ends with Serena standing at her desk once again, surrounded by the familiar faces of those who had come before her. She knew that there would always be challenges ahead, but she was ready to face them head-on, using her experiences as inspiration and guidance to create a brighter future for herself and those around her. And as she looked out over the Old Oak Inn's historic architecture, she couldn't help but feel grateful for the legacy it had left behind, serving as a beacon of hope in an uncertain world. Serena Vance, a quiet bartender, just wants to live her life after SE. Serving in the military. This desire is met with an unexpected turn of events when she meets the sheriff who recognizes her former commanding officer. As he introduces himself as Sergeant Vance, he reveals that their paths have crossed before due to a long-forgotten case involving one of Serena's past victims. The story unfolds into a complex investigation that exposes the dark underbelly of a local crime syndicate and brings justice to those who were wronged. After uncovering evidence linking the crimes to the syndicate, Serena becomes determined to bring its leaders to trial and ensure that they pay for their actions. She works with her team at the Old Oak Inn, a cozy bed and breakfast establishment nestled in the heart of town, where she learns about the lives of former criminals and witnesses firsthand the devastating impact that crime has on communities. As Serena delves deeper into the case, she uncovers secrets that threaten not only her own life, but also those around her. She discovers a web of corruption, power struggles, and betrayals that go all the way to the top of local law enforcement ranks. With each step closer to justice, Serena becomes increasingly aware of the danger posed by these powerful figures and must use every ounce of cunning and resourcefulness to outsmart them and bring their reins down. Along with her team at the Old Oak Inn, Serena forms an unlikely alliance with a retired detective who has spent his life investigating organized crime. Together they uncover evidence that leads them closer to the heart of the syndicate's operations and its mastermind behind it all, a ruthless criminal mastermind known only as the Shadow. As their investigation unfolds, the Shadow reveals an intricate web of lies, deceit, and manipulation that implicates high-ranking members of law enforcement, politicians, and powerful business figures. With time running out for justice to be served, Serena and her team must navigate treacherous political waters and expose the truth behind these corrupt dealings. In a final act of bravery, Serena risks everything to bring the Shadow down one last time, including putting herself in grave danger when she confronts him directly on the streets. With his cunning and ruthless tactics, the Shadow proves to be a formidable foe, but with determination and quick thinking, Serena outmaneuvers him and retrieves crucial evidence that leads her team closer to justice. As the Old Oaken's doors close once again after a successful prosecution, Serena is hailed as a hero for bringing down the syndicate responsible for the crimes. She receives heartfelt gratitude from friends, family, and community members who have supported her throughout the journey, and she takes this newfound recognition as an opportunity to continue her work in veteran advocacy. With the shadow behind bars and justice served, Serena's life takes another turn towards a peaceful existence, but not without the scars that marked her time spent fighting against crime. She realizes that the road ahead is still long and challenging, but with the lessons she has learned from her experiences, she knows exactly what it takes to make a positive impact on society and ensure that justice prevails for all. Serena leaves the Old Oak Inn as an accomplished bartender who has not only survived through adversity, but also used her skills and determination to become a beacon of hope in a world that still faces challenges related to crime. She is proud of the progress she has made, knowing that her experiences have shaped her into a stronger, more compassionate person with a renewed sense of purpose and drive to make a difference. And as Serena walks away from the Old Oak Inn's historic walls, she carries in her heart the knowledge that the legacy they left behind serves not only as a testament to their bravery, but also as an inspiration for future generations to stand up against injustice, fight for peace, and create a better world. Serena Vance. A New Beginnings. Once upon a time, in the heart of small-town America, there lived an ordinary bartender named Serena Vance. Born and raised in the Old Oak Inn, a historic hotel that had witnessed many struggles during her childhood, Serena knew from a young age that she wanted to make a positive impact on society. As a child, Serena struggled with anxiety and depression, often feeling like the only person who could offer solace or comfort in her world. Her time spent serving drinks at the Old Oak Inn brought her immense satisfaction, not just as a bartender, but also as an outlet for her emotions and fears. She was able to connect with customers on a personal level, offering guidance and support during difficult times. However, the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, and Serena soon realized that she needed to leave behind the Old Oak Inn to pursue a new career path. With a desire to make a difference in people's lives, she left her beloved hometown for California, where she enrolled in college studying criminal justice at San Francisco State University. Despite the distance, Serena remained dedicated to her studies and worked tirelessly towards obtaining a law degree. She spent countless nights practicing her legal skills under the guidance of experienced lawyers and mentors, determined to become an advocate for veterans who had been unjustly treated by their government. As she completed her final exams and applied for admission into prestigious law school, it was during one such interview that Serena's story took another turn. The interviewer asked about her experience at the Old Oak Inn and how the hotel had impacted her life. Serena replied with a heartfelt tale of witnessing firsthand the impact that crime could have on individuals and their families. She described seeing victims struggling to overcome trauma, rebuild their lives, and find meaning in their experiences. As she listened, tears welled up in the interviewer's eyes, revealing his admiration for Serena's courage and compassion. The interview ended with a renewed sense of purpose for Serena as she knew that her dream was not just about becoming an attorney, but also about using her legal skills to make a difference in the lives of those who had been affected by crime. With her sights set on working at the San Francisco Department of Justice, SFDJ, Serena found herself embarking on a new chapter, ready to take on the challenges and complexities that lay ahead. Upon arriving at the SFDJ, Serena quickly made an impact as she began collaborating with other attorneys to develop policies and initiatives aimed at reducing crime rates in urban areas. She worked tirelessly in collaboration with law enforcement agencies, community organizations, and local residents to identify potential hotspots for criminal activity and implement targeted interventions to address these issues. One particular case that stood out was the case of Keiko Du Bois Malik Mancini, a veteran who had been unjustly accused of murder due to false accusations by his ex-partner. Serena worked tirelessly on behalf of Keiko Du Bois's rights, appealing the charges against him in court and presenting compelling evidence that supported Keiko Du Bois's innocence. After months of legal battles, Keiko Du Bois's conviction was overturned, and he was granted a full pardon. The case not only brought closure for Keiko Du Bois, but also served as a turning point in her career. It inspired Serena to believe that by using her legal skills and standing up against injustice, she could make a real difference in the lives of others like Keiko Du Bois. She knew that this experience would serve as a foundation upon which she could continue her work as an advocate for veterans and promote justice. As Serena continued her journey at the SFDJ, she became increasingly involved in advocating for policies aimed at supporting veterans who had been impacted by crime. She worked with the VA to improve access to mental health services, counseling, and support programs, ensuring that these essential resources were available to all service members seeking help. Serena's dedication paid off when she was appointed as a senior advisor at a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing support for veterans in need. This position allowed her to leverage her legal expertise to develop strategic plans and initiatives aimed at addressing the root causes of veteran homelessness, substance abuse, and mental health challenges. Through her work with this organization, Serena saw firsthand how policies that addressed these issues could have significant positive effects on a veteran's life, ultimately leading them back into society. She knew that every small step in supporting veterans was crucial to building bridges between their communities and ensuring they had the resources and support they needed to thrive once again. As Serena continued her work at the SFDJ and beyond, she realized that the legacy of crime left behind by the Old Oak Inn would continue to shape her life as an advocate. Her experiences with victims who faced trauma from crimes instilled in her a deep understanding of the importance of empathy, compassion, and resilience when dealing with adversity. As Serena walked away from the SFDJ's historic walls, she carried within her heart the knowledge that the legacy they left behind served not only as a testament to their bravery, but also as an inspiration for future generations to stand up against injustice, fight for peace, and create a better world. With each new challenge faced and every victory won, Serena knew that no matter where life took her, she would always be committed to using her legal skills to make a positive impact on the lives of those in need. In conclusion, Serena Vance's journey from the Old Oak Inn as an ordinary bartender to becoming an advocate for veterans is a testament to her courage, resilience, and unwavering commitment to making a difference. Despite the challenges she faced during her time at college, through her determination and dedication, Serena was able to turn her painful past into a powerful new purpose that allowed her to use her legal skills to make a positive impact on society. Her journey has not only shaped her own life, but also inspired countless others to join her in fighting for justice and promoting peace. With each step forward, she continues to stand as an example of the power of perseverance and hope, reminding us all that even during the darkest moments, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Serena Vance, a quiet bartender at the Old Oak Inn in the small town of Millfield, had always felt like an outsider. Her family was no match for her military service, and she struggled to make sense of her life after leaving the Army as a decorated officer with PTSD. However, Serena's path towards healing came about when she stumbled upon a new community called The Bridge, which provided support groups and resources for veterans struggling with mental health issues. There, she met fellow veteran Jameson, who had also served in combat. The two became fast friends, sharing their experiences of war and the challenges they faced on both sides. One day, while working at the Old Oak Inn, Serena received a call from her former commanding officer, Jonathan Thompson, asking for her assistance with his case involving a veteran named Daniel. Daniel had been found guilty of a crime he didn't commit, but was sentenced to 10 years in prison due to the lack of evidence against him. As Serena delved deeper into Daniel's case, she discovered that there were several inconsistencies and discrepancies in the prosecution's testimony. She began working tirelessly to gather evidence and build a strong defense for Daniel. One day, while attending a trial hearing with Jonathan and other veteran advocates, Saranath met a young woman named Olivia, who had lost her husband in combat due to PTSD. Serena struck up a conversation with Olivia during the trial and discovered that she too was struggling to adjust to life after losing her loved one. Serena saw parallels between Olivia's situation and Daniel's case and knew that both veterans were going through similar challenges when it came to healing from their experiences. She reached out to Jonathan, offering to help him in any way possible, including providing legal representation for Daniel during his trial. The following week, Jonathan informed Serena of a new development, the existence of an anonymous tip-off about a potential witness who had information that could exonerate Daniel. As soon as Saranath learned this news, she knew it was her chance to make history and bring justice to Daniel's case. With Olivia's help, Saranath began investigating the alleged witness while maintaining tight confidentiality with Jonathan. They eventually discovered that a former military intelligence officer named Marcus had been working for a private defense firm that had manipulated evidence in favor of their client. The firm had intentionally provided false information and fabricated evidence to cover up Daniel's crimes. In a dramatic turn of events, Serena exposed the corruption within the justice system, leading to the arrest and conviction of Marcus and his team. With the help of Jonathan and other veteran advocates, Daniel was finally released from prison after serving 10 years behind bars for the crime he had committed. As news of the verdict spread throughout Millfield, Saranath's reputation as an advocate for veterans skyrocketed. People began to recognize her bravery and dedication in standing up against injustice, inspiring them with their own stories of survival and resilience. The Bridge, where Serena first discovered the Old Oak Inn, became a hub for support groups and resources for military veterans struggling with mental health issues. She organized regular events at the bar, including storytelling sessions and panel discussions on PTSD treatment and coping mechanisms. Her work also led to the creation of an online community called Vets Haven, where vets could connect with others who shared their experiences and find solace in a safe space. Serena's journey from the Old Oak Inn as an ordinary bartender to becoming an advocate for veterans has not only helped her heal, but also transformed the lives of countless individuals. Her commitment to using her legal skills to make a positive impact on society is now recognized worldwide, with many organizations and foundations supporting her work in providing support and resources to veterans. In conclusion, Serena Vance's story serves as a powerful reminder that even during the darkest moments, there is always hope for redemption and justice. Through her dedication and perseverance, she has become an inspiration to others, inspiring them to never give up on their dreams and strive towards making a positive impact in their lives. With each step forward, she continues to stand as a beacon of light, guiding those who seek guidance during the darkest times with hope and strength. Serena's home. De Serena, a 35-year-old woman in her mid-40s, sits at the kitchen table, surrounded by paperwork and papers scattered around. She has been working as an attorney for over 2 decades, but lately she feels overwhelmed with the constant stream of cases that keep piling up. Hey, Serena's neighbor, Jenny, enters the room, carrying a stack of letters in her hand. I just wanted to check on you and see how everything is going. Serena smiles weakly. She looks up from her computer screen and shakes her head. Not great, Jenny, she says, scanning the pile of papers before turning back to her work. Jenny nods understandingly. It's been tough, she says softly, but I'm glad you're doing well. Serena takes a deep breath and looks at her laptop once more. She knows that every case is different and presents its own unique challenges, but for now, it feels like nothing can slow down the pace of her work. Right, Serena replies. There's this one in particular that I've been working on lately. Jenny nods eagerly. Can you tell me about it? Serena takes a deep breath before sharing the details of the case. A retired military veteran, Keiko Du Bois-Zara-Nyberg, had filed a lawsuit against his former commanding officer, Colonel Omar Du Bois, for sexual assault and battery. The case has been going back and forth in court for years, with both sides presenting compelling arguments. The evidence seemed overwhelming at first, but as Serena delved deeper into the investigation, she began to uncover inconsistencies between what the military had said about Keiko Du Bois's allegations and his personal statements. Serena uncovered a secret email chain that revealed that Colonel Omar Du Bois had been involved in an extramarital affair with another female officer. The emails were sent from Keiko Du Bois, Zara-Nyberg at Army.mil, but the address was changed several times to avoid detection by the military intelligence agency responsible for investigating the case. As Serena dug deeper into this scandal, she also discovered a connection between Keiko Du Bois's allegations and a cover-up of sexual misconduct within the Army chain of command. It seemed that Colonel Omar Du Bois had been covering up his own actions in order to protect himself from reprimand or termination. Serena knew that she couldn't continue ignoring these revelations, especially when it came to Keiko Du Bois-Zara-Nyberg. She pored over the evidence and worked tirelessly to gather witnesses and testimonies to support her claims against Colonel Omar Du Bois. In a dramatic trial, Serena delivered a compelling argument against Colonel Omar Du Bois, presenting irrefutable evidence of his involvement in the sexual assault allegations. The jury was unanimous in their decision, convicting Colonel Omar Du Bois of all charges and awarding him a prison sentence that will serve as a deterrent for other military personnel to abuse their power. As Keiko Du Bois-Zara-Nyberg walked out of the courtroom, tears streaming down his face, Serena couldn't help but feel relieved and grateful for her work. She had fought tirelessly for justice in this case, despite facing resistance from Colonel Omar Du Bois's powerful network of influence within the Army. But as she sat at home that night, looking back on her journey so far, Serena realized something else. It wasn't just about winning a single trial against Colonel Omar Du Bois. It was about using her legal skills to make a positive impact in the lives of others and inspire them to never give up hope. That's why she decided to turn her pain into purpose by founding Vet Haven, an online community dedicated to providing support, resources, and understanding for veterans facing various challenges, including mental health issues, job loss, and reintegration back into society. Through the platform, she created a safe space where vets could connect with others who shared their experiences and find solace in knowing that they weren't alone. Vet Haven has become an invaluable resource for countless individuals across the United States, offering guidance, counseling services, and resources to help veterans navigate through difficult times. Serena's work not only helped Keiko Du Bois-Zara-Nyberg, but also inspired many others to speak out against sexual misconduct within their military ranks. As Serena sits at her kitchen table once again, surrounded by piles of legal documents and papers, she looks forward to the future with renewed determination. She knows that there will always be challenges ahead, but with her unwavering commitment to justice and using her legal skills for good, she is ready to face them head-on. The door opens, and Serena's neighbor steps inside, carrying a small package in his hand. "I just wanted to drop off this for you," he says, placing the box on her desk. Serena looks up from her computer screen with a smile on her face. "Thank you so much, Jenny," she says, smiling even wider. Jenny nods gratefully and leaves the room, leaving Serena alone in her quiet home once again. But as she sits there, lost in thought, she knows that no matter how challenging the future may hold, she will continue to fight for justice with all her might, using her legal skills to make a positive impact on others' lives and inspire them to never give up hope. Serena Vance. Sergeant Vance. Serena Sergeant Vance. Serena. Victorious Vets. Serena. Serena Jenny. Serena Jenny. Serena. Jenny. Oh. Serena. Jenny. Serena. Serena. Oh. Serena. Serena. Buddy. Serena Buddy. Serena. 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 Supporting our warriors. Serena. Supporting our warriors. Serena. Serena. Supporting our warriors. Oh. Serena. 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 Serena Vance, a quiet bartender with unwavering commitment to justice and using her legal skills for good, is ready to face them head-on. The door opens, and Serena's neighbor steps inside, carrying a small package in his hand. "I just wanted to drop off this for you," he says, placing the box on her desk. Serena looks up from her computer screen with a smile on her face. Jenny nods gratefully and leaves the room, leaving Serena alone in her quiet home once again. But as she sits there, lost in thought, she knows that no matter how challenging the future may hold, she will continue to fight for justice with all her might, using her legal skills to make a positive impact on others' lives and inspire them to never give up hope. Serena's past was far from perfect. Her father had been accused of murder years ago, but despite mounting evidence against him, he managed to walk free. The trauma left her scarred both inside and out, and she couldn't shake the feeling that justice would always be elusive for those who deserved it. That's when she decided to join the military, serving as a bartender in a small town where crime was rampant and violence seemed all too common. There, Serena faced one of the most challenging situations of her life, an armed robbery at a local bar that left 3 patrons dead. She quickly rose through the ranks, using her sharp mind and quick reflexes to apprehend the suspects and bring them to justice. But as she worked tirelessly behind bars, Serena couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to this case than meets the eye. It seemed like every time she uncovered a new piece of evidence or confronted a suspect with their own guilt, they would shift their story or deny any involvement in the crime. As she continued to investigate the unsolved murder, Serena found herself drawn into a complex web of lies and corruption that threatened not only her own career, but also those who worked alongside her. She knew that if left unchecked, this could become an ongoing nightmare for innocent people and lead to further violence and tragedy. With nowhere else to turn, Serena turned to the law enforcement community for help. She reached out to a former colleague from the military who had helped with one of the robberies back in town, seeking advice on how to proceed and gather more evidence against those responsible. As she delved deeper into the case, Serena discovered that the robbery was not just about money, but also personal vendettas and political power struggles between rival factions within a local gang. The suspects had been hired by a powerful figure with connections in government who sought to silence any dissent or challenge their authority. Serena realized that she would need to navigate this treacherous landscape of corruption, violence, and politics if she was going to bring the killer responsible to justice. She knew that it wouldn't be easy, but she had no choice. Her duty as a bartender and detective required her to use all her skills and knowledge to ensure that justice was served. As Serena delved deeper into the case, she uncovered evidence of ties between the suspects' gang members and powerful politicians who were willing to do whatever it took to keep them hidden. She knew that if they succeeded in their mission, not only would innocent lives be threatened, but also her own career would be at risk. With no other options left, Serena turned to the authorities for help once again. She worked tirelessly with law enforcement agencies from all over town, gathering evidence and piecing together a complex picture of what had happened on that fateful night. It wasn't an easy task. Many witnesses were either coerced or intimidated into lying, leaving little room for interpretation. But Serena refused to give up. With the help of her colleagues and fellow investigators, she uncovered new leads that pointed towards one suspect in particular, a key member of a local drug ring who had been hiding out with the gang members when the robbery took place. As they began to gather evidence against him, Serena realized that this was not just about solving a single case, but also about bringing down the entire organization and preventing future atrocities. In a dramatic showdown at a high-profile crime scene, Serena confronted the drug ring leader in a tense confrontation. With her sharp mind and quick reflexes, she outmaneuvered his men and arrested them all, including one of their key members who had been working closely with the gang to cover up their activities. As the trial began, Serena faced intense scrutiny from both prosecution and defense teams, but she remained resolute in her determination to see justice served. She knew that this was just the beginning for the victims' families, but it was also a chance to bring closure and heal those who had been affected by the tragedy. In the end, justice was delivered, with all of the suspects found guilty on multiple counts. The drug ring leader received life in prison, while his fellow members were given lengthy sentences or even death penalties for their involvement in the robbery and other criminal activities. Serena's bravery and dedication paid off, as her case became a symbol of hope for those who had been victimized by crime and violence. It was a turning point in the fight against corruption and injustice, showing that with determination and perseverance, anything is possible when it comes to bringing criminals to justice. As Serena sat at home once again, reflecting on the journey she'd taken so far, she knew that her work as an advocate for veterans wasn't just about giving them support, but also about inspiring them to never give up hope. She had faced countless challenges and obstacles along the way, from corruption and politics to personal pain and trauma. But through it all, she remained committed to using her legal skills to make a positive impact on others' lives. And so, with the memory of the victims and their families still fresh in her mind, Serena continued to fight for justice, never losing sight of her mission to use law enforcement and government resources to bring criminals to account. She knew that it wouldn't be an easy road, but she was ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that with perseverance and determination, anything is possible when it comes to fighting for what's right. Global outline. Serena Vance, a former military officer turned bartender, finds herself on the wrong side of justice when she is unexpectedly accused of murder in her small town. The incident sends shockwaves through the community and leaves her struggling with guilt and fear. As she begins to investigate the crime, Serena discovers that the victim was not just an ordinary citizen, but a key figure in their local chapter of a powerful criminal organization known as the Order. The Order is involved in drug trafficking, money laundering, and human rights abuses, making it clear that Serena's actions were motivated by a desire for justice. As she delves deeper into the case, Serena uncovers evidence linking her to the victim and the members of the organization. She interviews witnesses, analyzes surveillance footage, and follows leads that lead her to suspect several key figures in the order, including its leader, Mr. Omar Dubois, as well as their enigmatic associate, Dr. Lee. The detective's investigation brings together a diverse group of individuals with unique backgrounds and motives, each vying for control over the organization and willing to do whatever it takes to stay ahead. As Serena becomes increasingly desperate to clear her name and uncover the truth behind the crime, she finds herself torn between loyalty to law enforcement and her growing admiration for Dr. Lee's unconventional approach. In a thrilling climax, Serena confronts Mr. Omar Dubois in a high-stakes showdown at an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. The confrontation takes place under the watchful eye of the local police force, who are determined to capture the elusive leader once and for all. With adrenaline pumping through her veins, Serena uses her legal skills and cunning strategy to outmaneuver Mr. Omar Dubois and gather crucial evidence that leads him to confess his crimes. In a surprising twist, it is revealed that Dr. Lee was not involved in any of the criminal activities she had been accused of, but rather worked as an undercover agent for law enforcement to root out corruption within the order. Her actions have caused collateral damage during her investigation and left her deeply disillusioned with the organization's true nature. As Serena confronts Mr. Omar Dubois once again, they engage in a tense exchange that reveals his motivations behind the murder case, including a personal vendetta against one of the victim's fellow members who had been caught red-handed by Dr. Lee years ago. This revelation forces Serena to question everything she thought was true about her former employer and sets the stage for a new chapter in their lives. With the evidence against Mr. Omar Dubois firmly in hand, Serena decides it is time to turn over a stone and bring down the order once and for all. She forms an alliance with several other law enforcement agencies from around the country and coordinates a coordinated operation to dismantle the organization's operations and seize its weapons of mass destruction. In a thrilling climax, the team engages in intense battle sequences against the remaining members of the order, each skilled and dangerous in their own right. With their combined efforts, they are able to eliminate not only Mr. Omar Dubois, but also several key figures within the order who had been hiding in plain sight for years. As the dust settles after the final confrontation, Serena's life takes a significant turn as she begins a new chapter of using her knowledge and experience to advocate for veterans' rights and fight against human trafficking. She becomes an unlikely hero, inspiring countless individuals from around the world to never give up hope in times of darkness. The story ends with Serena reflecting on her journey so far and realizing that even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges, she has proven herself capable of overcoming adversity and using her unique talents and perspective to make a positive impact. She continues to fight for justice and serves as an inspiration to others who seek guidance in their own struggles, reminding them that anything is possible if they believe in themselves and never give up on the pursuit of change. And Serena Vance, a quiet bartender in her small town nestled at the foot of a mountain range, had always been content with living a simple life. She spent most of her days tending to customers and maintaining an unassuming exterior that masked her inner turmoil. One day, while working behind the bar, Serena received news that would forever change her perspective on reality. The sheriff arrived, addressing her as Sergeant Vance, revealing his identity as her former commanding officer from a nearby military unit. A cold chill ran down her spine at this revelation, but she quickly composed herself and attempted to maintain a professional demeanor. As the story unfolds, Serena's connection with the Order deepens, a powerful organization that operates in secret under the radar. Led by a mysterious figure known only as the Architect, the group is responsible for maintaining order within their own sphere of influence, while simultaneously recruiting new members from around the world to fight against human trafficking and other criminal activities. Serena soon discovers that the Order's operations extend far beyond her small town, with key figures operating in every corner of the globe. With her expertise as a bartender, she becomes instrumental in uncovering hidden networks of corruption within their ranks, leading her on an intricate quest to dismantle the organization from within and bring its leaders to justice. As the story reaches its climax, Serena is tasked with eliminating not only Mr. Omar Dubois, the leader of the Order's most dangerous criminal network, but also several key figures who had been hiding in plain sight for years. With the help of her former commanding officer, Serena sets out on a perilous journey to take down these enigmatic individuals and restore order within their ranks. The final confrontation takes place against all odds as they engage in an intense battle that leaves both sides heavily injured. Despite facing overwhelming odds, Serena's unwavering determination and unyielding courage proved too much for the Architect's ruthless forces. With a single shot fired, she emerges victorious, leaving her enemies battered and defeated. In the aftermath of the conflict, Serena's life takes another turn as she becomes an unlikely hero in the eyes of the local community. Her bravery has earned her widespread recognition from across the world, inspiring countless individuals to never give up hope in times of darkness. She uses this newfound platform to advocate for veterans' rights and fight against human trafficking, becoming a beacon of light within the shadows of war-torn regions. As Serena continues on her journey towards justice, she remains vigilant and committed to ensuring that the Order's operations are dismantled from within.